Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today in our free session, Back to School, Embracing Change. What I'm a little bit concerned, there is much information begin to appear about Neurographica, as it's known here in North America, NeuroGraphicArt. And I have to admit that not all their sources are legitimate sources. Because to teach Neurographica, to be an instructor and to teach it professionally with full knowledge, one needs to be an instructor of Neurographica. And to be an instructor, one needs to complete a 9 months long program. And this program is available only in Russian and a little bit in German. So that's why if you, surprisingly, I would like you to check if anybody you meet and explain that she teaches mostly women Neurographica, please check credentials. Because there are very few English-speaking people who are able to speak English, to teach in English, and teach Neurographica. So please check credentials. I'm, as I said, I'm a certified instructor of Neurographica. I have a certificate, diploma, also as a coach, but I specialize in instructor of Neurographica. I'm also an art instructor, and I paint in egg tempera. So what I would like to start a little bit about myself when we're still waiting. Even if I painted from early age, but I wasn't an artist. I have an engineering background, and I worked in construction engineering, and I was working in the office for many years. But then I changed my education. I completed a degree in professional communication, but I didn't work in professional communication like full-time. Did some because I discovered art, and I always loved art. And that art, it was an icon painting class by a renowned master iconographer. So I fell in love in egg tempera painting, and I've been painting for 12 years full-time in commissions, and also teaching for 8 years. So I'm mostly, and over the last couple of years, I realized that my interest switched from art for myself to teaching art. And teaching art, it became my, so, and I was very happy to discover Neurographic about 2 years ago, because it offered amazing possibilities for teaching. And that teaching attracted me most of all. Yes, I do like Neurographica, but that possibility to teach, to share knowledge with others is probably more important and more dear to me than art itself. I practice art, but Neurographica is more like a method of meditative practice. It's also spiritual practice, and you can apply it to any area of your life. Yeah, I could compare the method of Neurographica with water. You can make tea with it. You can make coffee. You can make soup, or use it for cleaning. It's useful for any application, for self-development, for learning, just for practicing, for art, for realizing one's dreams, not instead of, please understand me right, not instead of doing something, but a practice that supports your actions in real life. It's a practice that can very much smooth the process. And as a practitioner, as an instructor, I've experienced wonderful changes. But if anyone, but if you know spiritual practices, please do not be attached to the results. That's my only suggestion. Please do not be attached to the results. Do your best in real life, practice Neurographica, and do not be attached to the results. It's like any spiritual practice. And also, if you may think that with one drawing you like may change. No, not necessarily. It may change. It may help you. But as any practice requires time and effort. And with this, I would like to start something with a short introduction about me and about the practice. I will like to start our session today. Today is the first session that I offer as a free session, and I'm planning to offer 3 sessions throughout the fall. So far, I was thinking about my schedule. Of course, it's along with my classes, along with my regular classes. I do teach classes. I do teach introductory classes in Neurographica. I have also more advanced classes. With free sessions, I'm planning to offer, as on Thursday, September 17th, as a Happy New Beginning. It's dedicated for Rosh Hashanah, Jewish New Year, that comes this year on the 18th of September. That would, like any holiday, like any beginning, even Christian tradition, old Christian tradition, New Year is supposed a new beginning, and a church year starts in September. So September is actually a good start. So there's no religious, and I will introduce it. There's just some cultural aspects, and it's open for everyone, of course. September 30th, I'm not sure yet. I may about this subject, but I'm planning to offer a free session. Maybe I will combine Neurographica with painting, because I'm also an artist. I paint. So how to draw Neurographica with brushes. That I'm planning to do. It's more like how to paint Neurographica. On October 5th, I'm thinking about a session about gratitude, and it's dedicated to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving actually early in Canada comes early. It's in October. Then I'm planning to offer a paid course. It's relationship, neurographic art, Neurographica for communication and relationship. There will be 3 sessions in October. And then on the 31st of October, it will be like Neuro Halloween. So with this, approximately every 10 days or every 2 weeks, I'm planning a session. I'm not sure about November. That's my planning so far. So if anyone interested, please follow me. I will do my best to. Free session will be on Eventbrite. It will be on my Facebook. It will be on my Instagram, probably on my website, and I will give much more time. That will. I just posted it 2 days ago, but I promised to do it more in advance, at least a week in advance. Today's free sessions is mostly on topic you can consider like neurographic art, neuro art, and the type of follow me, draw with me. I will be talking very little about the method itself, but my courses, the paid courses, is more about, I talk about the method so you can be able to apply it on your own. And to draw on your own, once you know the technique, the method, you will be able to apply it on your own, and you don't need a middleman. So you can, once you know, you will be able to do it directly. And also with my other classes, I offer review. If anyone would like to submit a drawings, please, I will give you a short review. Also, we have a group in Facebook, Neurographic Art and Life. And if you, after this session, if you would like to share your drawings, you're welcome to do it there. And I will I will post a link again in the chat here. So that's as an introduction. And now I would like to start drawing. The real reason why we're meeting today. Prepare your drawing materials, and we're starting. Okay, so this is my, I am showing an array of my drawing materials. Luckily, Neurographica is very inexpensive drawing medium. Accessible drawing method, accessible for everyone. As you can see, I use Sharpie, but only for explaining. for drawing for explanations. Typically, the beginners classes, I use just simple markers, just for school kids. If you have professional ones, yes, you're welcome, but it's not necessary. They will do the same job as the expensive ones. At the beginning, you need just markers. It's easy to work with them because they have like felt pens. It's easy. Some contrasting colors. When I selected purple, dark blue, green, and red. For more professional, if you're drawing more professionally, you like fancy, and you have one, I use micron for some of my work, and not very thin, 0.51, that like this. Thin liners are not recommended, and I will explain why. And also I use just very simple pencils. You can see Crayola from art supply store, from we call it a dollar store. It's inexpensive store that sells everything. Some neurographic artists use highlighters that create impression because they're transparent and bright. But I don't like them. But that's an option. Also, I have more expensive pencils. If you want to have long-lasting effect, if you want to create art, I suggest using more expensive pencils, because this pencils from inexpensive like Crayola, they fade. And if you draw with pencils, you probably know the difference, how easy they fade and lose their intensity and color. I like using Inktense pencil, so the Derwent, for more impression, and I have a few Prismacolor pencils, some not many. So but today, simple pencil and paper. Desirable to draw on a smooth drawing paper because less texture. So it's easy for the marker to glide. It's easy. So, and before we start drawing with exercise today, I would like to explain a few things with Neurographica for complete beginners. So it's something specific for Neurographica that will help you to create to complete this exercise. One of the principles of Neurographica is the principle of interconnectedness. All the elements in neurographic drawing are connected. That makes it very different from any other art. What I mean, they are connected. They don't have separate elements. You could see some neurographic art already online. Sometimes Zentangle artists practice it. But what I mean connected. So if you see all the elements somehow touch and attach to each other. Even if it's different shapes, they're attached. They're not hanging somewhere in the air, in the space like this. They're in neurographic art and neuro art. Also, they all have attached with line to each other. Oh, why? You know why? The world, when they talk about the world, it's one. The world is interconnected. That's the reason that Neurographica views the world as one, but also it's for the mind. For the mind, it's easy to perceive one element, like one picture, one whole thing, without separating it. It's just easy for the mind to absorb. It's instant, and that's why we use connection. But there are other reasons why we use connection in Neurographica, but this is one of them. So it's one of the characteristics is interconnectedness of all the elements. The second one is Neurographic line. So to complete it, a neurographic line is not just neurographic line. It's not just spontaneous art line that you can draw like close the eyes and draw it. No, it has a special rules how to draw it. And again, I explain in details what the neurographic line is in my basic user course and also in my introductory courses. But for now, just make sure that when you draw the line, it doesn't repeat itself. So by definition, the neurographic line doesn't repeat itself in every segment. And almost as we do not expect where to see it. There is a direction from A to B. That's for our logical, analytical mind. But the neurographic line follows its own rules. It's like natural line. I can imagine cracked earth, waves, growing branches, vines, many elements that are not, that may appear like straight, but they're not. So when I draw even what appears like a straight line, I do like slight micro movements. So the reason, one of the reasons is to give it a short answer, is how to this kind of line, because it's natural, does allow us to communicate with our subconscious mind. While the straight line, which is the invention on the analytical mind, stays with the analytical mind, doesn't go deeper. So this kind of line that doesn't repeat itself, that's always unpredictable, non-repetitive, it has no pattern, allows us to communicate with the subconscious mind. So again, doesn't repeat itself. This means it's unpredictable. So we don't know how to continue it, and just draw it. For now, let's draw it just, it doesn't repeat itself. And that's about the line. And a third principle is also very specific for Neurographica, is the principle of rounding. What it says exactly, we round the corners. When the two lines intersect, oops, I drew a straight line. We're so used to creatures of straight lines, thinking within the box. So what I do here, I round. I create like a small arc, and I fill it in. And then I make a smooth transition. Again, like here's one line. Yes, and neurographic line, you can draw it in any direction. You can draw it from left to right, from right to left, from up, down, and down, up. Yes, there are reasons why we can draw the line in certain direction, but we'll talk about it later today. So for example, as rounding, I show rounding again. Here's one line, then another line, connects. And again, this creates a corner intersection, and I do the rounding. Sometimes we need to round 4 corners. Like for example, if 4 corners, I mean, if they're more like this angle, you need to round 4. The reason why we do rounding, there are two reasons. First, if we think that every line represents kind of an impulse, a thought in our that comes from our subconscious, there is definitely a thought, an impulse, and we don't know we don't know what they are, we don't decipher them, but they come from our subconscious mind, but we don't know whether they are connect or disconnect. It can be in three-dimensional space, they could be like this, like, but in two-dimensional space, on paper, they appear as if they intersect. So when we do rounding, they show the connection between the two lines. When we need this connection, it's a long theory and explanation, which we're not going to do it today. Even, you know what, when I start talking about it, I want to explain everything, but it's a little bit too much at the beginning. So another reason behind the intersection is also that two intersecting lines like this create sharp corners. And these corners are triangles, are always associated with the stress, with conflict, anything else. So that's even studied in the more advanced courses. But that I'm just, for now, just believe me that that's in Neurographica, the triangle associated with a change, conflict, and tension. So if we're drawing something that's supposed to make us more relaxed, calmer, we want to avoid this kind of stressful shapes, conflicting stressful shapes. So that's why we practice rounding. So that's shown introduction with respect to the elements that we're going to use today. Okay, so if not, so then what we'll do, we'll do some preparation exercise. It's one of the typical exercises in Neurographica. First, the reason, ready to start drawing. Okay, thank you. We're gathering here today on the topic back to school, even if many of us do not go back to school. But just the idea for me, when I remember when I had to go back to school, I'm going to tell you, it was like over 40, and even the first time close to 50 years ago, I was very anxious and uncomfortable. So anyway, since many years passed ever since, but when September approaches, I feel that anxiety, that the summer is over and we have to go back to school. Many of you probably have children and grandchildren, and we're all anxious about this change, especially this year 2020, which is a remarkable year that brought us many surprising changes. But change is part of our life. And what we have to desirable to do is to accept it. It's the only way to deal with it. But when we tell our mind, okay, we're accepting, we're doing affirmations, it doesn't help. It doesn't help us no matter how many times we may tell ourselves, okay, I'm accepting. With the method of Neurographica, probably like other methods that exist, it's easy to accept. It's easy, and that could be done on the level of subconscious mind, because we draw Neurographica, but there are so many things change while the process of drawing that we don't even know. It might change something else. You might get up, and also my suggestion, and what I noticed from experience, I could have one topic selected for my theme for drawing, but something else as the result, something else improved in my life. Probably they were connected at some subconscious level, which I didn't know what was. They were connected. Okay, so it's another thing. We think about that we're afraid of unknown, but we cannot be afraid of unknown. There is something that, if it's unknown, we cannot be afraid of it. There is something that makes us feel more anxious, and something that we don't know. We don't know on the level of our conscious mind. Luckily, it's not a problem with Neurographica, because we don't have to identify our that unknown thing. We just draw a shape, and it becomes an avatar of something that we assign a shape as an avatar for that feeling. We don't even have to name. We don't have even to share with others. We just create a shape. Okay, this is a shape. This is my concern. This is my issue. This is my question. So, and they become representation, and we work with it. We work with I, like everyone individual. They're very individual drawing. So everyone will work with, you follow me as I guide you through technique, but you're drawing your own theme. Please, I would like you to select for something that your own concern for today that you would like to work with, and just label it for yourself with one name, like so-called a theme. So what you selected, whether it's a change, whether it's anxiety, whether it could be even health, you anything, something that you would like to accept. Well, for me, I know there's a change coming, yeah, and I would like to embrace. I've been suffering a little bit from, my life is very repetitive, monotonous, and it doesn't bother me. Starting, I notice the change. So it's a combination of routine and change. So I don't know what I'm right now concerned about more. Not concerned, but you know what I mean. Makes me think about it, at least. Something, I would say that a theme, that's something that you think about often, more often. So if it doesn't bother you, it doesn't, it doesn't, we don't think about it. So now what I would like to do, our exercise, one of the exercises is to write a minimum 20 words within 2 minutes, and I put our timing in relation to that, to the theme you selected, to your question, to your issue, to your concern. You can, the topic for today's class. Why we're doing this? We're activating our the theme, so it will be easy for us. It will appear stronger in our drawing. We want to feel stronger. And there are exercises to activate our subconscious mind. So even if you're drawing on the theme, please select any word, like whatever pops in your mind, just jot it down on paper. Do not your mind, your analytical mind, make a selection. Please just do not, the most important, you just write every word that comes to your mind. Yes, you gave the direction to your mind with your theme, but at the same time, let it flow. Okay. 1, 2, start. Words can repeat, don't worry. We have 1 minute left of writing. You can repeat the words, no problem. Sentences, adjective, nouns, verbs. Do not discriminate. Everything works. Just let your mind, just let you flow. That's done. All over the place, and I have a good and drawing and creativity and mood and everything. So don't. Okay. So we can put this paper and keep it until the end of the class. So now we activated our mood. So would I just prepare a paper? So now we have paper, and what actually we start drawing. Select and I will select a marker. Just I have to make sure that the contrast is that you can see. Otherwise, I have to draw with a. Okay, for you to see better, I will draw with a black marker. Okay. So you have a contrast. You can select any color that you like. So what I would like to but imagine that everything starts with us. You position yourself, as yourself on this page as a dot somewhere, anywhere. Just you can move your hand here and there, and okay, this is me, just a dot. Now what I would like to assign myself. So now I present myself as a shape, any shape that you can think of yourself, shape that represents you on this page. So we're going to draw two shapes. One of them will be a shape of you, another shape that represents your theme, your concern. It's something that you would like to accept, to embrace. So my shape, okay, something like this. It could be a regular figure, irregular. Just trust your hand. When we talk about Neurographica as a visual kinesthetic language, just trust your hand, and your hand will draw the shape that you feel about yourself. I think. And now another shape position anywhere on the page that will represent your theme, your concern, your idea, your question, or whatever you would like, how you want to define it. Okay, so I will again move my hand. It's something like this. Just make sure that your lines are light for now, because we're going to do we're going to work with them. So that's like a sketch, the very light lines, and that way they present us. So now we look at the shapes, and two shapes. Now we have two shapes. what we're going to do next is to assign a center for this new figure of your concern. Like, let's say it could be, the center could be in the middle somewhere. You can move your marker, just the hand, move slightly, and okay, this is the center. And of course, if we want to embrace something, accept something, we want to establish contact, acceptance. And we draw a very tiny line, just indicate a connection between the centers. I would like also to show a couple of options, what could appear, since I don't see your drawings, what are other options that could appear on your page. So I have, for example, 4 different options that could appear on your page, or could be. Like, one is, I have, like on mine, like 2 figures that are on the page. Like, for example, an option could be like this. This is I, and another figure, the big one, could intersect with this one. That's another figure, could be, that's option 1. And I will, if anybody would like to work with it, that's also, it's not a problem. Another option could be you position your own shape, your avatar, and another shape, it's like sharp corners. That's also an option, and we have to do something with it, because we cannot communicate with something that's so sharp, like a hedgehog. Another figure, like, for example, this is me, and the figure that I would like to accept is doesn't touch me, but it's just present. It's much bigger. It's not even, doesn't even fit on my page. That could be also an option. And another one that's more likely, and I would like to use this. If somebody drew that your own figure, not a nice, like, kind of round, like a pebble, but something like sharp, and the other, and you're concerned there. That's the figure that we need to work with before. If we have corners, especially if your figure represents sharp corners, we have to deal with it before we continue with the exercise. So when this figure, and I mentioned, if this figure like this that represents you, this means it contains a lot of tension and maybe inner conflict, because there's so many sharp elements. What we can do now, and that's probably typically in our Neurographica classes, before doing anything else, we do so-called algorithm for removing inner constraints. It's just a general rule. It's good to do that because it removes inner conflict. But we can do it a very, very small one here. I don't need it, but just in case, to make ourselves nice and relaxed, let's do something like this. You have your figure. Let's do quite a scribble, impulsive, like for example, like this. I do it and I think about me, okay, I have a concern, I have an issue, and I create it like this. So this presents my concerns within me. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I take all the sharp corners. This is figure within me and around all those corners and connect them, and all these lines, sticking out lines, I connect to the outside of me. Rounding, connecting. Sometimes I do these figures 2 times. I draw extra line on top of the existing line. Of course, the neurographic lines as I move my hand slightly. Okay, so if you've done this, please also attention. If anybody has a figure like this, like I showed with sharp corners sticking around, please do rounding also in the exterior and in the shape. So please eliminate this sharpness in the corners. And you can also, if a corner is sticking here inside, you can create a neurographic line and extend it to the next side. So what we're going to do with the shape, we ask ourselves whether it's possible to communicate these two sides, whether I feel comfortable to communicate, to establish contact with something like this big and me small. If you feel comfortable, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to get connected to something big and become one with it. That's one option. But also, if it's some concern, you may want to reduce it. And how do you reduce it? In the following way. If this is the center, we reduce this figure. So like, for example, this is my imaginary concern, because everything exists in our mind. This is not a reality. We are working with our perception. We're working on paper. That's why on paper we can do anything. And I decide, okay, well, maybe this figure, I will draw it like this. I cut off this side and maybe like this side. And I don't like this sticking out corner, so I will. Okay, so and I will look. Now I will look at this side. Okay, would I be comfortable talking to this? Maybe yes. Say something is bigger than me, but at the same time it's not so intimidating. Also, as I had showed on my drawing, I positioned myself higher than the figure that my concern, my change, that something I would like to accept is a little bit lower in relation to me. And the way I look for it, it's almost like a connection. So what I would like to do now, I will increase my size. I have enough space. As this is like an example. There are many ways. This technique, it's so versatile. It's possible to work in every possible, in many ways. You can increase size, reduce size, connect them to another. You can experiment. It's a very versatile technique, and I'm showing only one example, one version. But I'm thinking I would like to increase my size to bring some similarity and like importance between the two figures. So in my important, I'm as important as this figure because the figure, the size shows us a degree of importance. And I take the line from my own figure and wow. I just felt it. So what I created, an outline, I took the line from my existing original figure and I connected it with the figure that almost exists. It seems like it belonged there. So now that I have two sides, and I ask myself again, it's like a self-coaching. Am I comfortable my size? Do I feel like this figure is the same size as this? Do I want to live in the same space? Am I comfortable with their respective sizes? Let's say so for the sake of this exercise, I would like to even reduce this figure, make it even smaller. I say that I would like to be it like this. Okay, they're almost the same size. What I also, now is the time, what we can do is to create, actually establish communication. When we're satisfied with the sizes, I'm not even sure, maybe I'm not sure whether this size or the other size. Sometimes attitude changes during the process of during the drawing process. So don't be surprised because it's always an element of being not expected. So what I would like to do now to create a connection between the two, and I take the lines again. I'm doing neurographic lines, and I connect the centers. And energy is coming when now the direction of the line matters because I'm taking a line from my side and towards this figure, and from the figure unknown towards me. This kind of mutual exchange. I would say that this figure that represents my unknown, maybe fear, maybe anxiety, maybe routine, contains a lot of energy. And I would like, and by this, I would like to benefit from this energy. I would like to absorb this energy. I would like to accept it. And the more lines you draw, the more connection, the more connection you establish between the two. Connections could be done not only from center to center, but also from the sides, from the surface. Like for example, this gap, and I close this gap, so I connect them too. And of course, here you can see intersections that made the corners, and all the corners, almost all the corners, okay, especially the big one where the thick lines intersect, we want to round. Now you wonder what to do with these lines. These lines still exist. It's like our first diagnostic figure. We turn them into the lines. You just take them to the outside. There's a special term that called neurographic line that connects figures with the background. But for now, what we do, we'll just take these lines and take them away. We send them into space. So we don't want our attention be caught with those lines that for our figure as we drew it from the beginning. That's what we're studying in the basic user course. So I take the lines and take them outside from the figures to the edge, to the end of the page, edges. So instead of being part of the figure, they become part of the field that surrounds us. And of course, rounding, if there's an intersection, I round it. And don't forget that there are neurographic lines, not just straight lines. Also, the line can go through the figure. So the goal is that I want, if I'm reducing this original figure, my goal is to make it disappear with the line. So my attention is not drawn to it. And if you see a new figure, then you can strengthen it with additional lines. It's almost, so now what I see, the way I drew this figure, myself and that something unknown, it became like something one. It's the idea that we become one, and I assimilate, I absorb, I accept that change, that condition or whatever theme that we drew. So the idea is to accept it, to embrace it, and what I literally do with my lines. These become like one figure. And of course, our centers are connected because I want to get to the center of this matter. So I want to benefit from that energy. the energy of change, the energy of concern. And the other lines that are original lines, I will, what we call it in Neurographica, diffuse them in the field. I'm trying to make them disappear, like I would say, like this. Disappear with any other lines. So in my attention and only in the central figure of me, because you can, if you, the focus is on you in this exercise. If you want to strengthen yourself, you can even emphasize your own personal figure. And you can draw as many lines inside. Just remember they're neurographic lines. Normally I draw more lines, and Neurographica is not minimalistic drawings. The more lines we draw, the better the quality. We create more connections, and we reinforce our the change, that our impression. A drawing like this will take over maybe an hour and a half to do well. And also if you concentrate, oops, this is what I'm not supposed to do. What I did, I intensified this line, which is the background. Okay, while I was drawing, something changed in me. If this, my concern, such a big figure represents, and I want to embrace it, and I want to get energy from that, connect that energy to myself, I can use the entire figure, even increase it. This is another way of looking at the theme. Don't be surprised. Something can change while the process of drawing, and I'm obviously I can feel that it's changing in me right now. So whatever change is coming, and I'm feeling, just pay attention what happens with your body. So for example, I'm giving you an example as myself. Right now, as I was started talking to you regarding the changes, I felt some tingling sensation in my right arm. That's important, that the body, your physical body, responds to changes, and the body doesn't lie in this way. So if you feel physical, like something on a physical level, tingling or tightening or relaxing, this means that exercise is working, the body is responding. With our thoughts, we can fool the mind. We can start affirmation using our mind, talking to ourselves, but the body is stubborn in this way. So what I felt, I want to use this figure. I was really without reducing it, I would like to embrace it, the entire thing. And I will draw that. You're welcome to use this example, my example, or if you feel like. But on the other hand, you can use as your own. That's my own case. I would like to feel, I don't want to have any separation. I know that change is good for me. Okay? And I connect. Even I use this figure, and now it became like, well, anyway. Almost like inseparable. Okay. A few sticking lines that I connect with the background. I'm following the Neurographica follows the basic algorithm. This is the recipe how to make those drawings work. So it's not like spontaneous drawing. I'm following this special process that which is called in Neurographica the basic algorithm. Okay, so what? For now I'm satisfied, and I would like to, the next step we can apply colors. It's possible to leave the drawings black and white, like a schematic, like a sketch, but also apply colors. Applying colors and also more serves integration between the different parts of the drawing to make it look like more like one whole, but also the colors have energy that change our state. And if you're an artist, you probably experience that how applying colors, using colors will change your mood and attitude. If you ask me why I do like double lines, draw lines, many lines instead of one line, it's my style. I've been drawing for a while, and overall I developed a different some style. Okay, so what I would like to do is start applying colors. Yes, I have a few corners that I need to round, and I will probably finish rounding after the class. Otherwise, it will take a while, a little bit of time, more time. Colors. Just select the pencils, use your intuition, applying colors, and start coloring. The only rule that we follow in Neurographica, make sure that you don't color like one cell here and stop and apply next color. Please do not do that. Colors serves also for integrating the drawing. And at least 3 adjacent cells, like this here, have to be colored, applied in one color. So please avoid the effect of that stained glass or mosaic. I also overlap colors. Like, there are certain ideas we use also in Neurographica, the energy of colors based on the 5 elements that the Chinese style. If you know anything how to apply colors and colors, you know the significance of colors, you are welcome to bring into this drawing. But for now, it's okay to draw it only your own, just use your intuition. So I apply color only, not only on the figure itself, but also the background. And as I said, my style, I quite often overlap. Not everything has to be covered with colors. You welcome, white is also a color, so it could be left white. And now we're gonna, and this is the time when I typically stop talking because I get excited so much by applying colors that I just continue coloring. So I will just, what I will do, I'll just indicate main colors. And we will finish the exercise. You know, when you, I hope there are many artists, so if you know, like you can apply colors and different values, you can press more, press less. So I will spend more time, of course, on this drawing, but so I like coloring. But our time is it's drawing to a close. It's getting close to it. Yes, it's almost it's a 11:15, so we'll be finishing soon. To make smoother, I also do like in the childhood. I take a paper towel and smudge it to make it more consistent. So this is the paper I'm drawing on. It's not a high quality paper. So the colors are. It takes an effort. I have to press really hard to make my pencil produce a desired result intensity. And as we're finishing the drawing, I would like you to now to pay attention to yourself and ask and feel, did anything change? Did your state, your emotion change since the beginning of the drawing, since that we started an hour ago? Did you notice any change? So I will continue drawing later. I will apply colors. I will continue applying colors. I'll finish the drawing after the class. And then I will share it on our in our group, in the group that I'm using for and it's Neurographic Art and Life. Now this I shared the link to my to the group that we're going to. You're welcome to join it. It's Neurographic Art and Life, and it's Facebook group. I will probably share some other on my personal profile and my page. And I hope we will continue this tradition. If you have any, you may suggest a theme. If anybody would like a theme for me to draw, to free drawing, you're welcome to send me an email or share in the messenger or Facebook group. Okay, so well, you're welcome to make your suggestions, and that I will consider definitely. Thank you very much, and I'm turning the webinar room. I'll see you next time.